This video will demonstrate the step-by-step process of upgrading an existing powered belt and roller conveyor using the Rexnord Roller Upgrade System. Once you've completed these easy upgrade steps, your conveyor system can provide best-in-class performance. Downtime and maintenance costs can be cut by as much as 85%. You can expect a 45% or more reduction in ambient noise levels and up to 75% savings in energy consumption. Plus, eliminating belts, rollers, and bearings will mean a 90% reduction in consumable components. So let's get started. The components included in your upgrade kit will vary somewhat depending on the type of conveyor you are upgrading. In addition to the mat top chain itself, which is typically shipped in 10-foot sections, you'll find an idler shaft support module and a drive shaft support module. Both are essentially identical, except that the drive shaft support module has a shaft extension for attaching the gear drive. You'll find a quantity of support brackets, and depending on the type of conveyor you will be upgrading, straight and/or curved wear strips and return guides. For some installations, your upgrade kit may include return roller assemblies in lieu of return guides. You'll have 2 return shoe assemblies, edge guides for use on straight conveyor sections, and a hardware kit containing all the necessary bolts, nuts, and washers. Also included is a copy of the Rexnord Roller Upgrade System installation manual. Keep it handy, as it's intended to be used in conjunction with this video. After performing all necessary electrical and mechanical lockouts, measure the distance from the top of the rollers to the top of the conveyor frame and record your measurements. If the conveying height varies, use an average measurement. You can then remove the rollers, belts, drive drums, and other components. But there is no need to remove conveyor cross braces. The idler shaft support module is installed at the infeed end, flush with the end of the powered conveyor. The drive shaft support module is installed in the same manner at the discharge end, but there you will need to cut a hole or slot into the conveyor frame to accommodate the shaft. Both modules are shipped pre-sized to fit the nominal frame width of your conveyor, but they can be readjusted as necessary. Support modules are mounted with either their short or long slots up, depending on the type of chain being used. Be sure to refer to the manual before beginning installation. Using the provided bolts, nuts, and washers, attach the support modules to the conveyor frame's existing roller mounting holes. Bolts are only required in the upper slots of the support module. Tighten just enough to hold the modules in place. Both the idler shaft and drive shaft support modules must be positioned to maintain the original conveying height. Detailed instructions on how to determine the proper distance from the center line of the shaft to the top of the chain can be found in the installation manual. Once you have achieved the correct height adjustment, tighten down the bolts. Support brackets provide a foundation for the wear strips, chain, and product. They are designed to be installed every 2 feet along the conveyor frame, but this distance can be adjusted slightly to avoid conveyor cross braces or other structures. Support brackets should be mounted using the same slots, long or short, as the shaft support modules. Attach the support brackets to the conveyor frame's existing roller mounting holes using the provided bolts, nuts, and washers. Tighten just enough to hold the bracket in place. Then, using the same dimensions as the support modules, adjust the support brackets to maintain the original conveying height. One way to quickly determine proper bracket height is to stretch a line from the idler support module along the conveyor frame to the shaft support module. Using the line as a guide, position the brackets and tighten. After making sure the top of the bracket is level, tighten the carriage bolts that connect the bracket halves. Return guides support the chain on the underside of the conveyor frame. Slide the provided carriage bolts into the slots on the guides. And begin by positioning the inner curved guides first, with their riveted ends toward the conveyor's drive end. Be aware that the inner and outer guides have different radii. Loosely attach the guides to the undersides of the support brackets with the provided bolts, nuts, and washers. After making sure the inner guides are parallel to the conveyor frame, tighten them down. Next, install the outer curved and the straight return guides in the same manner. Join the return guide sections end to end with the provided connectors. Guides may be cut to length as necessary, and cut-off sections reused by adding a new rivet 2 inches from the infeed end. Return guides should begin 3 to 6 inches from the shaft on the idler end and 18 to 24 inches from the shaft on the driven end. Use a short section of chain to line up the ends of the guides with the sprockets on the shaft support modules. And then, pass the chain section through the return guides the entire length of the conveyor to confirm proper clearance. Make sure the chain is riding on the bottom surface of the return guide. You should have approximately 3/32 of an inch overall clearance. You can then tighten down all bolts. Return shoe assemblies are attached to the ends of the return guides using the provided carriage bolts. On some conveyors, return roller assemblies are used in lieu of return shoes. Consult the Roller Upgrade System installation manual for details. Wear strips provide support for the mat top chain as it travels along the top of the conveyor frame. The number of wear strips required is determined by the conveyor's width. Edge guides are only required on the outer edge of straight conveyor sections. Beginning at the driven end, lay out wear strips and edge guides along the conveyor frame with their riveted ends towards the idler end. The distance from the ends of the wear strips and edge guides to the center line of the drive and idler shafts should equal 1 pitch of chain. In some cases, however, you may need to allow extra clearance for the sprockets. Align the edge guides to the idler and drive sprockets using a short section of chain, and position them parallel to the conveyor frame. Again, consult the installation manual for details. Edge guides and wear strips can be cut to length as necessary, but new rivets must be added to cut off sections 2 inches from their infeed end. Chamfer the cut ends with a utility knife and join the sections together with the provided connectors. Using the provided bolts, nuts, and flat and lock washers, loosely attach the edge guides and wear strips to the support brackets. Space the wear strips evenly across the width of the conveyor frame. To establish the position of edge guides, slide a short section of chain along the straight conveyor sections. 3/32 of an inch overall clearance is recommended. Adjust the position of the edge guides as necessary, and then secure them and the wear strips to the support brackets. Before installing the chain, double-check all clearances by passing a short section through the entire carry and return way. Then, install the chain 1 section at a time, connecting each section as you go. Connect the ends of the chain together in the drive area. Links can be added or removed as necessary in order to establish the proper catenary sag. Refer to the instruction manual for details. Once the mat top chain has been properly adjusted, you can begin to install or reinstall the other conveyor components. Gear reducers are always placed at the discharge end. Shaft mount drives and soft start motors are recommended. As with any conveyor upgrade or modification, you'll need to consider proper placement and adjustment of controls, photo eyes, and product guide rails. And always remember to verify correct drive rotation before pushing the start button. That's all there is to it. In a matter of hours, you've transformed an unreliable, inefficient belt and roller conveyor into a state-of-the-art material handling solution.